carnage hits as Storm rest. Nico is named and only 2 weeks until we crown the best. I'm your host, Brandon Savage, the coach of the Savage Burbos. I'm joined here today by the 2021 champion, Timmy Moody. Timmy, how are you feeling this time 3 years ago?
Yeah, I was enjoying SuperCoach a lot more than what I am at the moment. I wasn't at the moment. I'm currently sort of like looking forward to SuperCoach break, but I know I'm going to miss it so much as soon as it's gone. Like, I know these 2 weeks are done. I'm going to be missing it so much. So I'm just trying to first of all enjoy every moment I can of this round. But back then, yeah, it was, it just felt like, the birds were whistling, the flowers were shining up the right way, and everything was just such a much more vibrant. It was great. I was excited. I was pretty confident. I wasn't too nervous. I was worried that
Sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to cut you off there, but I remember this time last year. I think this was the make or break week for you. You'd be in front for a while, but this week coincided with the week that took you home.
Yeah,
so
had a big week, yeah.
Round 26, you had a massive week. You jumped them by a lot of points. And I remember the last round, you pretty much made defensive moves, which you're so far ahead, it wasn't going to hurt you if someone got another pod or something. So you made the good moves. So this would have been the week where you're still nervous, but like in the back of your mind, you're like, I've pretty much got this, but I need things to still happen for me.
I felt like only the SuperCoach gods.
Super gods.
The SuperCoach gods were the only ones that could have taken it from me in my mind. I still feel like I had a good enough gap. Like, I look at the guy in first now, and I think it's only the SuperCoach gods that can take it off him now. I do think that there's he put 150 on most of a lot of the others around him, and it just takes for the person second or third or fourth or whatever to do that twice in a row and put 150 on gap, and then then they've won. But it just feels like, I reckon it's only the SuperCoach gods that are going to take it from him. So
yeah, well, Bryce's boys in first currently has a 300 lead.
He only had a gap of like 5 points or something about 2 rounds ago, wasn't it?
298 lead. He's got 2 trades remaining, but he had Jerome Hughes. One trade. He's got Jerome Hughes, and he's also got Sam Walker, but he's also got Harry Grant with Jaden Brayley as backup. So he's got a decent backup in Jaden Brayley this week. He's also got a decent backup in Sam Walker this week. So depth will be tested. I think the people behind him with multiple trades will be looking at left field moves now. Yeah. I think this is the time to go left field, and you've really got to be specific with who you're looking at and number one is who you're going for. You're looking at his team. He's got Karaz, Young, Garrick, Marju, Holmes, Tungo. He's got Isaac and Jake. You'd definitely be looking at someone like Lomax or something like that, right?
Yeah. I also reckon that this week with captaincies, he might be the biggest chance to zig while others zag, because I don't know what the zig is that everyone's meant to, because there's no standout option.
Yeah.
You look at Tommy playing the Dogs and you kind of go, should you VC or C if you own? And then if, you look at then Teddy, the next best option, got a tough-ish. It's not a real easy game against the Raiders. A lot of people I'm saying, oh, no, he's playing the Raiders, it's easy. I still think the Raiders maybe rally again. Like, they beat Panthers last week. Maybe it took a bit out of them. But I don't feel like that's a slam dunk captain Teddy either. And then Ponga looks better on paper, but just feels a bit behind those other 2 guys that not so confident in putting the C on Ponga and going against one of those 2 guys. If you say a Ponga Teddy owner or a Teddy Turbo owner, do you know what I mean? So it's hard to sort of and then you look at if you were to vice captain say Turbo or something, there's such a plethora of cheeky options. Nearly every single game there's captable options in it. It's the real zigzag week, I think, and there could be a lot of different variations.
It really is, and I guess when we talk about captains, that's going to be a massive point. I think we can literally go through the matchups and just have a look at your team, and then just decide what you're going to do from there. But Timmy, how was your weekend in SuperCoach wise?
Agonising. Another one that was quite tough. I didn't actually know it was as bad as what it was until the weekend finished. Usually I know where I'm at. I was feeling pretty bad about having to play Sam Hughes, who ended up scoring well enough. I thought that was going to hold me back. Casey McLean popped out at low 21. I was sort of kind of forced to play him, but could have played someone else. If I had played someone else, it probably would have been Kai Pearce-Paul. So got 3 points extra, I think they're lucky. Harry Grant, when he came out and put up that big 126, I thought, hold on, I'm probably back on par here. And thought I was going all right. But
you did pipe up in the chat a little bit.
Yeah, I got a little bit chirpy, didn't I?
You were like...
do you think I look like... Whenever one of my players go well, if they have a big score, I just ask you, do you think I look like them? It's just my way of letting you know I've got them in my side. It's weird. Yeah, so do you think I look like Payne Haas, guys? Yeah, but then I did sort of just cancelled out in my mind that, I think it's like 43% of people had Jerome Hughes. So that kind of just put a line through my Harry Grant being good. And if people had both, then and then the weekend sort of unfolded. And the rest of the guys' scores I had were pretty okay. I took a couple of crappier ones in Marju, Fafita and Dom Young, but they felt pretty commonly owned. 13-10. It was so far behind par. I won my head-to-head. I got lucky. Just the bloke that...
You won?
Yeah, he scored only 11.99. I've just got so lucky in that head-to-head. It's the one I win every year that I'm like, you boys should play because it's soft. It's not... Sorry, boys, if you listen. It's just a softer comp than some of the ones that, we play in that are a bit more hardcore.
I am... Really makes you... I'm sorry to butt in again, but...
No, we're having a conversation. You're right.
Yeah, just like with the head-to-heads, it's... The comps we run, they're always so highly competitive and they're really high caliber super coaches. I'm in some comps where I just win them all every year. And in all our cash comps that I'm in this year, I think I made 6 out of 7 prelims. I made 1 grand final. And,
take what you get.
And that's a 13-24. And all the other comps that I joined that are outside the Supercoach world, like mates groups and stuff, I'm in the grand finals for them, obviously. Yeah. But Jesus Christ, it's it kind of sucks running a Supercoach podcast and running these cash comps because you get pipped by all these people who are listening to you and they're just one step ahead of you most of the time.
Yeah, true. Especially when it comes to finals, yeah.
Yeah, so you're in your cash comp. I'm in one. It's a $50 one.
I'm going to get demolished by this bloke. I've gone not confident going into most rounds, but I looked at this guy's side and it's pretty much the bee's knees. He's got everyone.
Oh, no.
He's got no dramas. He's got like no Storm, no Tigers, and just everyone else is just elite. So, yeah, good luck to me.
I think the one I am in, let me just get it up. I'm pretty sure he's got Nathan Cleary and Jerome Hughes in his side. So I'm hoping he has no trades. Who has he got? So he's got obviously Katoa, Trebojevic. He's got Viliami Kikau, Matt Burton, Zach Lomax is going to be a worry for me. Bryce Cartwright, Jaden Campbell, Jaden Brayley, James Tedesco. And then, he's got Cleary. He's got Val Holmes as well. So
if he's got Viliami Kikau on his side, I hope he beats you. What a legend.
It just could be the week Viliami Kikau comes out and gets a triple.
I was tempted to bring him in for sentimental value and I went, no, don't do it. He's going right though.
Yeah, you would have been.
Nice try.
You can still win your comp, I reckon.
Nice try. Oh, once you have a look at the matchup later in the week, I think you'll change your mind on that one. But yeah, Viliami Kikau had nice tries this last week. Didn't score too well. I think it was like 48 or something.
Yeah, okay.
I've had my eye on him a little bit, so I kind of want to bring him in, but nah.
Back to Thursday night, as a non-turbo owner, I put the captaincy on him, so I think that was one decision that did help my weekend. I am down to 43rd. It's been my lowest rank since about round 14, so hopefully we can claw our way back, and I'm very confident.
Not too shabby. But there's a lot of bigger scores out there than ours this week, so yeah, it's not too bad. I dropped 800.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Yeah.
Different spot, though.
I played the likes of Kai Pearce-Paul, Dylan Brown once again, but the players that I benched, like Lachlan Galvin, didn't score as much anyway. So I'm quite happy with where I'm at. I made a lot of bad decisions, but I think at the end of the day, let's go back a couple of weeks. We had a massive debate on this podcast, Daly Cherry Evans to Jerome Hughes, and my justification. If Jerome Hughes wasn't resting this week, I wouldn't have done that trade. But
yeah, it's annoying to have that information all that way out, wasn't it? Kind of You get info like that, it's hard to ignore it.
I think I've lost the trade. I've definitely lost the trade. Unless DCE comes out and scores 150
I think
this
you're 10
week.
points ahead going into the round or something you said last week.
15 points ahead.
And what do you make up about 85,
90? So it's 65, but I really could have used them points this week.
Yeah, but if he doesn't play this weekend, next week, and then you've got Jerome, DCE, it just depends on what DCE makes up on the guy that you would have played instead of him. True. And then you can gauge it that way, I guess.
Yeah, for sure. But I think that was a bad trade. And back to your discussion that week, it was, do I sell Jaden Campbell for Tom Trbojevic? Instead, you sold a...
Yeah, got it doubly wrong. I really should have brought in Turbo. We played it so passively. Wanted to, bring in Ponga for less money so I could strengthen up one other position. That was the real thing that pushed me over the line in going Ponga. But just looking at it, it's easy to say in hindsight, but I could, going back to where my head was at, just the Manly side were attacking a lot better than what Newcastle were. And I was very sort of focused on these last two rounds too. I was sort of thinking that Turbo might be held back a bit against the Dogs and the Sharks, whereas maybe the Knights have got better draw here. But I lost out. It was pretty silly. Just in the sides that they were in, the individuals are both very good, Ponga and Turbo, but the sides were probably the one thing that should have lent me there and forced my hand. And I got way too attached to Jaden Campbell. Just way too attached.
I think that is SuperCoach in a nutshell, though. Like, the decision I made, you understood why I did it, but it didn't work out. I think just trades-wise, it was a stupid move because it was my last trade. But with yourself, like, your decision was based on ceiling. Jaden Campbell has a high ceiling. Since you had to make that trade, the Titans have gone to shit. Like, you couldn't forecast that. They were playing well. You're only going off what you saw in the past.
Yeah, they lost. They lost the week I just made that decision. I think they lost like 66. Was it 66-0 or something like that?
Was it the Manly week?
Nah, I might have been.
Nah, it wouldn't have been because it's the week I traded in DC. They were playing. I think they were playing the Raiders that week.
44-0 against the Sharks, round 23. Yeah, it was that round.
Yeah. Yeah, interesting. So I guess that's SuperCoach in a
Do you know what's
nutshell.
annoying me? Because I'd been sitting there banging on going, the Titans, they'll lose, but they'll score 22 to 26 points regardless, And the other thing I've been banging on that I need to bring up about myself that I've got so wrong was Dylan Brown. I'm like, Dylan Brown just doesn't score 30s back-to-back, basically 30s.
I think he's looked a lot better than what he scored. To be honest, I'm very excited to own him for the last two rounds.
Playing on the right's not been ideal.
It hasn't helped, and I think Dijon Arcee's taken way too much ball from him. And for such a mediocre player, I think Dijon Arcee has had patches of good footy, and I think he's been better than what I expected he was. But he's not that dominant a half for Dylan Brown not to Dylan Brown didn't really have a kick, a long kick at least.
I've got a little bit of faith in him in these last couple of weeks.
Me too.
There's a bit of something there this week. I feel like they kind of feel like they want to be the spoilers. They feel like they are playing to spoil other teams' seasons, and they were sort of pretty close to rattling the Broncos last week. Got right up, I think, 3 tries.
They were on top, and then Kelma Tuolangi decided to charge down a kick from Adam Reynolds inside his own 20 metres. I think it was like 13 metres out or something. Ridiculous, because they would have got the ball, been on the attack. Instead, the Broncos went up the other side.
Bit of a brain snap, I guess, but
yeah, it's just
he was trying to make an effort play. I think it was just that
just not smart. Just let him kick it, bro. All right, let's move on to the actual carnage of the week. Oh, so how was it as a non-owner? Like, how'd you feel as a non-Tommy owner?
I was feeling pretty good about the send-offs and stuff, and everyone in the chats were blowing up, going, yeah.
And you know why they're blowing up? Because they're like, we need points for Tommy.
Yeah, of course. But, the way I saw those is I just thought that, they were just getting a bit, getting a few warnings. They were told, no more. And then there was the head highs that sort of happened. And I thought it was great.
But then the last 20 minutes.
He just sort of, was like, I'm Tommy Turbo and I've got some SuperCoach points to score. for some very, very faithful people out there that chose me over Ponga. Yeah, he did well, didn't he? In a side that where no one else could get it done, really.
It's a long wait till Sunday for the Teddy captainers. Like, it would have been a very nervous wait, and I was thinking, I thought Teddy was locked in for 100 for sure. And even with that 161, 158 he downdated to, I was nervous. So
it was just so disappointing because, like, I did sort of tip up like last week that I thought that this game feels like Tigers could be up for this, and yeah, like I know Manly had played with 12 for 50 minutes of the game, but I just felt like there was that possibility for Turbo to be held back within that. They just couldn't control him. The Tigers played pretty well. I know they had it a bit easier, but yeah.
Well, it was very exciting owning him, but his scores since he's played fullback and come back from injury, 119, 174, 45, 121, 105, 158. It's like nothing we've ever seen before. His average is 90.9 now. I think it definitely is the case. I think Ponga has kind of matched him in his better matchups.
Price-wise, yes. For the price point you've got him at, yes. Especially if you did other things with that other cash that got you could probably justify. But because you're captaining the player more often than not, then you're kind of missing out.
Score.
You're missing out.
You're not worried about the cash for sure. All right, Carnage has hit. The Storm obviously alluded to earlier in the year on the James Graham podcast. Brennan Smith revealed that they'll be resting around 26.
Everyone gave him crap for it. We can't trust the cheese, but he was on the money.
He was on the money, and I think circumstances have played out for it as well. They beat Penrith, and Penrith has lost as well, so they're now two wins clear of the next best. So they can rest people for the next 2 weeks, and they've got the minor premiership locked up. I don't think they rest for 2 weeks, but I think this week for sure.
I reckon there's some that might.
There's a good chance that next week they will. So here is in order, or in order as much as possible. Nick Meaney is out. Jack Howarth is out. Cameron Munster is named. Jerome Hughes is out. Grant Anderson is named at halfback. Harry Grant is out. Tyrone Wishart is in there as well. Nelson is out. Nelson, Sean Bloor, Tui Kamika, Will Warbrick, Eli Katoa, and then there is Nick Meaney, Trent Liero, Josh King on the extended. Don't expect them to come in, but that's mass restings. Eli Katoa, Harry Grant, and Jerome Hughes in particular. You own Harry Grant, and is this going to hurt you this week?
I'm going to play Jaden Brayley, and it does hurt me because the difference between what they were scoring. One of them scored 126 and one scored 40 last week. So even if, it's going to cost me at least 20 points, I think,
Yeah.
So that sucks. But I'm probably just going to play Jaden Brayley. I don't know that there's enough upside in there for me to... I've got 2 trades left. If I was going to do it, I'd do probably Little, but he's scoring 70, 80, and if he didn't get that 70 or 80, I'd be pretty shitty. So, I think I'd rather take an upside guy. And even if my upside guy doesn't get 70, 80, because they don't score any tries or whatever, I know that they had the potential to potentially go 150 had it been their day and things gone right sort of thing. So, probably he's going to do that. I'd hate to sell him if he did get named next week too. That'd suck. Yeah. So it's really hard to navigate. Like, I don't want to sell anyone that's going to
could be back next
week. And it's a real minefield. So I think I'm probably just going to use one trade this week.
How many trades do you have left?
2.
You've done well. You've done well to hold it this long.
Yeah, I mean, it's come at a cost of, my score and just trying to have trades so I can deal with the issues now. But, it is what it is.
What it is. On the other side of the park, the Cowboys are pretty much full strength. Taumalolo back. Ruben Cotter in at lock. But I think we're looking at the Cowboys draw for the back ends of the season and thinking, this is pretty tough. They are now up against a reserve grade Melbourne side, and the likes of Al Holmes just looks very juicy and a potential VC option for mine.
Yeah, I reckon if you're going turbo, like you've got turbo, so you'd have to have something on him, I reckon. even against the Dogs, like, yeah, they got mad defence. He only needs 1 or 2 try assists to have a good score. And, you know, as good as the Dogs are defensively, Manly are as good in attack. So maybe they just break them. They've been up for quite a while as well, and they were expected to sort of drop off a bit against the Wars last week, and it didn't really happen. So, yeah, maybe this is the one. But, yeah, I love the vice-captain for you there as well. I just don't know which way I'm going to go at all yet. I'm like, my captain, if I start there, I'm probably looking at Ponga, but I just don't feel confident in it. Just the matchup looks the nicest, but I don't know.
We'll definitely talk about it over captains, and after we see all these matchups, we'll think about it. And we might not even decide till we catch up on the SC Playbook podcast tomorrow or something.
Yeah, you need to put some feelers out, see what Spy's doing.
For the Bulldogs, Stephen Crichton is out with that high tackle. We'll talk about that in our NRL show, whether we think it was a sin bin or not. But yeah, not much else doing here. I think this is a pretty nice little matchup for both sides. I think there's going to be plenty of SuperCoach points on offer. Maybe not too much upside, but I'm still leaning towards potentially Tom Trbojevic as a captain. I just think his record against the Bulldogs is insane. I know they're a different Bulldog side. They're the best defensive side, but I just think Manly's style of play is a very unique style of play. And the Bulldogs haven't played a top 4 side since they played the Roosters, and the Roosters beat them by 18 points. Early on last week, the Warriors had the knack over them, scored 3 early tries.
Yeah.
So I think the Bulldogs haven't really been tested. I think this could be their wake-up call, potentially.
A couple of those games where teams scored 3 tries and then lost this weekend, eh?
Yep. Yeah. A lot of them. But not much else doing there. I think I might still keep it on. Tommy, Penrith play the Rabbitohs at Penrith Stadium, Bluebet Stadium. This is one of the last games that will be there. So if you are a supporter, maybe get out there. And
I think the week after Bluebet one's the main one. I want to get out to that one.
Yeah, I actually might as well. Yeah. Casey McLean dropped. Paul Alamotti in, Jerome Luai and Snyder in the halves. Dylan Edwards is still there. And for the Rabbitohs, not very SuperCoach relevant, but Cameron Murray's name, they're appealing. The high tackle. For the Panthers, Casey McLean.
I'm a little bit happy about it, hey, because I've been tempted to play him and gone, Panthers attack, and, all right. And then he's had a good, when he first came in, he was scoring well without tries. He had good base as well, for the most part. And then he had that he had a little drop-off game. Then he had that big 85 or something against
the Storm.
Storm, yeah. And so then trusted him the next couple of weeks. It's let me down. Yeah, back-to-back 20s, I think it's been.
Yep.
So I'm kind of happy with it in a way. I mean, there'll be plenty of people that will need that to be their 17th number potentially this week, and it'll suck for them. But, yeah, it's probably good for me because I would have probably got lured into it again, being a Bunnies matchup.
Yeah, for sure. I would have done the same thing, but...
That's one thing I've got to fix. I've got to try, as much as you chase upside, I think you've got to run away from potential...
You've nearly just got to play guns. The guns you have every week. Like, don't think about...
Anyone that's got that low 30s in them, you can't... Unless they've got massive upside, like a Dom Young who could get a 30, but... Casey McLean's probably not ever going to get a 150 in centres.
Like, so. You don't want these sort of players in your side this time of year.
The 20's just as likely as the 80s.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's worth doing it at the start of the year because it's worth the risk. It still hurts at the start of the year, but...
Very different.
I think at the back end of the year, like for upside that you don't really know is there, I think you're right. Just a little bit of inside word potentially. I don't know how much credit this has, but... I don't want to reveal my source, but I want to say how legit it is.
Don't. I don't know who it is, but
one of my relatives works with someone at a radio station who is quite high up in the rugby league world, and they did a podcast with Nathan Cleary not too long ago. They're releasing it either next Monday or the Monday after. Yeah. And on that podcast, apparently, Nathan Cleary said that he's going to be back earlier than everybody thinks. Now,
Well, that's interesting. That's before they recorded that before last week's loss.
They recorded it last week.
Okay.
So they recorded it before last week's loss. And my family member, I'm just being very careful with my words here.
Yeah,
my family member was listening to this person speak to another person at the radio station about the podcast. And he knew where I am, like in SuperCoach and like all that sort of stuff. So he let me know. But they're releasing this podcast next Monday or the Monday after. If they release it next Monday with Nathan Cleary, that means I think he could be back next week. It doesn't make sense because unless they're a chance to miss out on the 4, which they're every chance to miss out on the 4, especially if the Bulldogs win. But yeah, they were very adamant that Nathan Cleary is back earlier than everybody expects. But that could also be a lot of experts are thinking that he'll play if they lose week 1 of the finals. They think he'll play week 2 or the preliminary at earliest.
Yeah.
So they think they'll leave him out for the first final series. Maybe that means that he's just going to be there for the first finals game.
Yeah, it's a tough one to try and work your head around it. Like maybe you do just leave him out until the very last do or die moment where it's kind of like we're bringing in now.
I think with words like this, don't bank on it. Like, and I know deep inside you're like, oh, maybe he'll be back. But realistically, if you hold him and he does come back next week, he's not playing 80 minutes.
Yeah. And it's probably would be more in my head. I imagine it'd be like a Cooper Cronk grand final, sort of just more of a guiding sort of you go there, a couple little dish off plays, but not really taking the line on.
From my gathering, I actually think that his injury isn't as bad. Yeah, he needs to get surgery, but I feel like he's good. He's good to go.
Yeah. Yeah, well, the vibe was when he sort of came off it, what didn't seem like it was as bad. That was like, not as bad as what it could have been sort of thing. So, yeah, I'm stressing out about that too because I potentially could sell him to Nico this week, which is another stressful thing because there's only a 24-hour turnaround with that. And we might only get... do you know about how that works? Sorry to get off topic. But, is it 24-hour team list? Does that mean 24 hours before the kickoff? Like, is that usually where it is? Like, exactly to the minute?
Yes. So they play 7... Oh, they play 7:35 Saturday. The Panthers play at 7:50. Oh, okay, 8 o'clock. So you have 25 minutes. But the thing is, he probably won't be put in the starting side. He'll be like 18th, 19th man. Like he'll still be on the extended. So.
Oh wow, it's still stressed. Yeah, so then it's not like you're going to see it again to come up.
Do you think it's worth the risk though? Because he's coming back from a leg injury.
I think the way I've decided I'm going to go about it, I really want to do it, but I think I'm just going to use the one trade this week elsewhere and save one trade. And if he looks good to go, I'll bring him in for next week against Manly. I think I thought it was just more of his mental health that was holding. I was just thinking it from that angle that was holding his footy back at that time.
Yeah.
But then there's the injury as well.
Yeah, for sure. I've skipped the Parramatta Dragons game because there's not much there. But Zach Lomax, massive option against the club he is playing for next year. And hot tip. I put a call out for tipping point suggestions yesterday. Zach Lomax is a part of it this week because he's playing the club he's playing for next year. Okay. I'll tell you the other couple very shortly. But for the Broncos...
One of them would be AFB.
Sorry?
One of them would be AFB.
Ooh. You've picked up on that well. Broncos play the Dolphins 5:30 Saturday and Tristan Sailor at fullback. I think Tristan Sailor could be this year's cooler.
Possibly, yeah.
Potentially.
Yeah, especially if Storm... It depends how much Storm rests next week, though. Like if...
Oh, true. They do play the Storm next week, but he just gives me them vibes. I would have brought him in last week.
Cronk talk on 360 last night, I just sort of took it... it's not like he's more of a Chook's involvement these days, I think. But his wording was they'd mass rest this week, and then they would... I think the wording was something like they'd go full strength or something like that against Brisbane. And I wonder whether that's to knock Brisbane out and not let them, because they are still a bit of a threat.
Yeah.
Or whether it's more just the fact of you want to get everyone just one game in before
Yeah.
The main one. But then it's tough, because they've had that rest off.
Yep.
Maybe they do need the game.
Well, I think just against Melbourne, Reece Walsh could be back next week, so it's probably too much of a risk. But Payne Haas on the extended, very interesting. If he plays, that's massive, especially if you held on because of limited trades and you decided to play, a Terrell May. That's massive. So Terrell May will end up playing instead. For the Warriors, they play the Sharks. Braden Trindle at 7. We've got Jesse Ramian out. Talakai is in at centre, but Nico Hines on the extended. Very excited to see what happens here. Hopefully Nico is back. Nico has a brilliant record against the Warriors. And for the Warriors, Tane Tuapiki at fullback, Chance Nickel-Clocksad at centre. Any comment?
Yeah, Nico's a bit tempting, hey, because if they're bringing him back, they probably want to get a bit of games into him, not just one game before finals too. So I reckon they do play him. Especially if he's right, and I don't know. I just feel like he'll go well. I don't feel like his style of play, requires him to be heaps accelerate-y or anything. He just sort of, drifts around, puts someone through a hole, and just has his hands on the ball a lot. And against the Wars, who might have, really clocked off last week after the emotionalness of SJ playing his final game at home.
Well, this is their final game, and it's Sean Johnson's final NRL game.
But I think emotionally last week was.
True. Sean Johnson is part of Tipping Point this week because it's the last week we can do it.
Yeah,
so,
okay.
He is part of it. Him, AFB, Lomax. I haven't decided the fourth, so if you want...
Interesting, because he's playing against his old club rather than the club that he's going to.
Exactly. Exactly. Very good. What else have we got? We got the Newcastle Knights play the Titans at home. Kalen Ponga, obviously there. Bradman Best is back, which is very good for Greg Marju. I think Dylan Lucas just struggled to give the ball to him, so I'm very excited to see how that plays out. Jaden Campbell keeps his 6th position despite being ridiculous at decision making for a 5'8". There was a
Make some good tackles out there, mate. Some really gritty ones too. Some really
bullets
like Flat and Teddy once.
There was a time on the weekend I think they were down like 16-10, so the game was still in the balance. It was third tackle. He didn't know what to do. He did a crossfield kick in his own 30-metre line or something like that, and then the Roosters got the ball back and scored. Absolutely ridiculous. I just think I don't rate him as a 5'8". I think SuperCoach White. I think he's a talent, but I just don't rate him as a 5'8". I think that left edge is absolutely dead because of him, because he just crabs across the field. But SuperCoach-wise, he's brilliant to own, I would say. Dylan Lucas is second row. Roosters play the Raiders. The Roosters don't have much doing there except Joseph Suoli'i is out, and their whole side is very SuperCoach relevant. Angus Crichton with a triple on the weekend, which hurt my soul. I knew... it's funny. Parramatta Eels are coming last. I wasn't scared about the matchup last week. I was petrified of Angus playing the Titans.
Fafita. Yeah, it was kind of the going up against Fafita too, sort of proving to the Roosters, you got the right guy. And just that personal battle between those two as individuals. Well, and I had him in so many bets to score a try, just the one try. But the next leg, I backed the Dragons. I had a few bit around the Dragons winning, or 1-12, and Lomax to score, and missed all of that. So, yeah, all of those bets I had with Gus didn't pay off, but paid $260.
Nice. What, for any time?
Yeah, for any time. Imagine what he would have been for 3. I didn't look at 2 or 3.
Yeah, crazy. All right, most traded in this week is quite interesting. Jacob Little, number 1. It's nice to see he's getting some appreciation. He scored another 73 on the weekend, which is nuts. He is, I'd be looking at him for next year if the
only thing is with the Cookie going over there, that could be a headache.
I don't think you can touch him, but I think he's been the most underrated number 9 this year, and I think people are starting to realise it. And Jacob Little, I think...
I reckon it's got to coincide with the fact that Cookie's coming over, that he's just playing out of his skin. Because he's playing, it's not just like...
But he's also healthy, because he's been injured a lot and always never had time on the park. He's healthy, and I think he never got a chance to string along a lot of games 80 minutes.
Yeah.
And now he's done that.
He came out at the same time as Simpkin, didn't he? Was it the Tigers?
No, he was before Simpkin.
Yeah.
Simpkin was like quite after him.
Okay.
But yeah, Jacob Little number one. Obviously, a lot of people going to Harry Grant to Jacob Little, which I don't hate, but I don't love it either. I think Harry Grant will probably play next week, and I guess for the people who have enough hooker, it's probably worth doing.
Yeah, it could be the thing that loses you head-to-head, just that one weakness you've got.
And also, a lot of people are head-to-head and focusing on winning their head-to-head finals this week. Just do the trade that gets you the most points.
And there's probably a bit of upside in him too against an Eels side too.
Yeah. Matt Burton, number 2, scored 100 last week against the Manly Sea Eagles. You know, I don't know where I see him scoring this week. I see him scoring 40 to 120. I could see...
It's hard to tip him, and that's why it's hard. It's always hard to pick him up. And we talked about him last week. I was pretty keen on him, but what got me off him was what a lot of people were sort of saying. They thought he was capped, his upside. And I think maybe that 100 is sort of about where he's at, unless he's running in like 3 tries himself, which could happen just in a final round sort of beat up sort of thing. But yeah, I don't know. He's sort of someone still I'm kind of keen on if I didn't go to Nico, because I don't know what I'm doing with that final spot yet. I'm a bit worried about I'm still interested in Jerome.
You didn't go
Jerome
last week.
No, I didn't get it.
You were locked in, weren't you?
Who?
You were locked into him or Jerome, weren't you?
Yeah, I was going to go one of the two, and I just
And you
decided
didn't get
to hold
either?
off. Yeah, I wasn't too sure.
Yeah, okay.
I thought I'd be 2 trades up my sleeve this week would be better.
Nico Hines, a lot of people locked in on him. 615 traded him in. I don't mind it, but obviously wait for them 24-hour cuts. Obviously Cleary to him.
Might not kick too. Could be a thing.
Might not kick, but I don't know if Braden Trindle stays in the side. I think Atkinson has been killing it, so I think that's another watch. See if he kicks.
I reckon that's what everyone reckons, but I don't reckon that's what the coach is going to do.
I don't think so either. I think when they've played Nico, Trindle's been there.
It's kind of like they're like, Akos can play anywhere for us, and he is that guy. And yeah, it's great. He's doing a good job in that role, but Trindle's our man.
Yeah. Tricky Trindle. Angus Crichton, Sam Walker, next on the list. Can't complain with that. Zach Lomax, one of the best trade-ins of the week, and I think if I was you, very good captain option.
Yeah, he's definitely someone I'm eyeing off as a cheeky one. Yeah.
Isaiah Yeo, 660k. I was looking at him a few weeks ago, 490k. Geez, wish I jumped on. Reece Robson at a cheap price, 520. Joe Tarpanay and Jerome Hughes is traded in by...
Well, he was the 5th most traded in, not in my side, before team lists.
Maybe this is before team lists and people just haven't had the time to.
Well, this is one of my cheeky little ones. I might bring him in at this week to. I don't know if my head-to-head opponent's watching. I'm probably not. He might be. But it's a cheeky one. You bring in Jerome Hughes and just make it look like you've got no halfbacks, so they just fall into a false sense of security, and then you actually bring one in. You know what I mean? I don't think that's a way. Or you could bring in Harry Grant too.
Or maybe you can, bring him in and get the AE.
No, but you trade him out before. You just make him go, oh, sweet. He's got no halfback. He's got no hooker.
True.
And then they just sit back and go, and they don't even,
I can't do that.
Yeah, no.
I've got no trades. All right.
You got other trickery, though.
Moving on to the tipping point. We're now 19 plays 16. We got 2 and 2 last week.
Interesting week last week with the way this big weight.
Yeah, I think we both got it completely wrong. Although Sam Walker was the closest one. I got Jerome Luai under 75, and I also got Sam Walker under 80. He scored 68. You went Jerome Hughes above 72. He smashed it. And you got DCE below 96.
Smashed that.
So we're still pretty even, but it feels like you're still closer somehow. Like the score is 19-16.
It's because the bigger the scores get.
Yeah, the closer percentage.
Yeah.
So we did say Sean Johnson, AFB, Zach Lomax. Who do you want the last one to be? I think you can... we can do
it'd be nice to have a theme, wouldn't it? To find someone else. Is there anyone else going to a new club that's playing each other that you can look at this? Probably not, hey. That'd be rare to have another one. I
mean, I can look for it. At the expense of potentially...
Yeah, that'll take a while.
Hold on. Knights, Titans, no. Sharks, Warriors. Oh, AFB. Jesus, AFB is going... That's why.
Do we, maybe one of the captain option, like a big captain option still?
Maybe Ponga.
Yeah.
Ponga plays Titans.
Yep, maybe. Yep. I think because he could be one that either Turbo. If you're not a Teddy Turbo, you might have one or the other. Yeah, he's still pretty popular. Let's lock him in.
How about let's go Grant Anderson at halfback?
I don't think because no one's going to own
That's
him.
not exciting, eh? All right. How about, we haven't talked about him, but Jake Clifford is coming off 128 performance against the Raiders.
I remember seeing that game and going, geez, he's playing good footy. How good did he look?
Yeah.
And then
looked
apparently he
brilliant.
was killing it in
in
Queensland Cup or wherever it was he was playing. But then I sort of went, oh, he's playing the Storm when he comes back off the bye. Or, and then he had the bye last week, so you weren't going to pick him up last week for Cleary. And then he had the Storm, so just put a line completely
And now
through
he's
him.
completely forgotten about.
Oh, jeez, I don't mind it, but then he's got the Dogs the final round, so...
Yeah, but for tipping point this week.
Oh, yeah, I'm talking about as a purchase, but yeah, we can chuck him in.
Yeah, you want to do him?
Oh,
All right.
but then no one's going to own him, though.
Yeah, it's true. All right, let's go Ponga.
Yeah.
All right, let's start off with... We'll start off with Zach Lomax.
So, do you want to do them in game order? Just because when they come across this, like when you had them there, it's nicer to look at visually.
Yeah, that's Zach Lomax.
Okay,
first.
cool. Just last week it wasn't like that, so I just thought I'd flag it.
Yep.
Okay. Let's set the line at 55.
I'll go over 55. I'll go 76.
I'll go over 76 and I'll go 86.
I'll go over 86 and I'll go 91.
I'll go over 91 and go over 93.
I'll go under. You knew I was going under, didn't you?
No, I thought you might have kept pushing. I didn't know where we were at. I just like that the matchup. He's got the game, and also is it still is Sevo there? He's going at?
No, he's going
Yeah,
at
Tago?
Yeah, he's going at Sevo.
Yeah. Either one, it would have been good stuff. So.
All right, AFB against the new club that he's going to, the Sharks at Shark Park. Set the line at 65.
It's an interesting line.
Yeah.
Oh man. And are you going to go over or under or?
Well, wait, do I have to set the line and say
I think
over or under?
Yeah.
Is that how we play it?
I don't remember. I'm just trying to.
I thought I set the line and then you go.
I'm
first.
actually just trying to get a bit of you to do something so I can see where you're at a bit first. Oh, okay. I'll go over 65 and go to 66.
I'll go over 66 and go 70.
I'll go under 70.
I like that. That's going to be a genuine battle between us.
No try, please.
I was probably going to go under if you went up. So, yeah, we know if he scores a try, he's going over. All right, SJ, last game at PointsBet Stadium against the Sharks. Last game ever. This is the last time we could do this. I'm sorry, guys, if I've got a real nasally.
Oh.
Can you tell?
No, only just that moment. I couldn't see when you were starting to be a bit sorry.
I've got heaps of snot in my
You're
nose.
just dealing with it. It's in the bank.
I keep blowing it.
Okay, you gonna set the line?
Oh, okay. Set the line at 47.
Bro. Oh, I want to go just go under. I'll give away my hand. I'm not going to go just under yet. I'm not decided. Yeah. But then
there's also a bit of bounce back.
You kind of want to see him go well as well. I'll go under 48. What did you say, 47?
Yeah.
Well, I'll go over 48.
I'll go over 48 and go 50.
I'll go over 50. Oh, I'll go under.
All right, cool. SJ over 50. All right, and then last one, Zach. Oh, sorry, we already did Zach Lomax.
Pong Dogs.
Ponga.
All right, I'll set.
Ponga plays the Titans at Mount Smart Stadium, Mount McDonald Jones.
I'll set the line at 70.
Go over 70. Go 80.
I'll go over 80 and go to 88.
Go over 88 and go 98.
I feel like he's somewhere between there and 125.
That's the game, mate.
I'll go over 98 and go over 101.
I'll go over 101. Go 108.
I'll go over 108 and I'll go to 111.
I'll go under 111.
I feel like it's going to be 110 because I was about to say 110, but I just like 111. You know, I like that number.
Yep.
So
He's going to score 111, isn't he?
No, he's going to score 110. I'm going to cost myself.
So if a player scores exactly what the line is, what's the go there? What happens?
We run it straight.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely going to lose that. So I think we just call that it's just a draw, isn't it?
I want to see you get the Kafusi.
Golden point. We'll just have to run out there and.
I'm excited for you to get the Kafusi.
Yeah.
No comment. All right, trades this week. What are you doing? Clear to Hines.
Nah, because I think I just need to wait with Nico and just have a look. It might be too stressful. I might do it.
Yeah. See the vibes.
Yeah, my trades before I looked at team lists in my mind. I thought I'll go Hines and I'll go Carraz. But Carraz has gone to centre now, and I don't know whether that holds me back a little bit and whether I'm being silly for being held back a bit. But yeah, honestly, I'm a bit up in the air. My opponent's got Carraz, so I really don't know.
Yep.
The problem is I've got places that I've got issues like hooker and halfback and stuff, but I'm just not ready to pull those triggers. I'd love to make other moves. I might end up just making 2 next week. It just seemed... I don't know whether that's too conservative. I just think there could be mass restings, and I kind of know where I'm at with my side this week. The only problem is my 4th reserve is going to stink this week. So if I can make 1 trade, then I'm probably doing a bit better.
Yep.
You going to be bringing anyone in?
Oh, if I did have trades, I probably wouldn't do any anyway because I'm confident with my side.
Yeah, that's it.
I'm happy with my side. Captains. At the moment, I'll do VC Val Holmes and see Tommy. But looking at my side, I feel like this is the kind of week a lot of people might panic and kind of just go completely left field for someone who doesn't have the upside. I think you've really got to stick to the people who have upside. So the likes of, like for me, could Marju be one?
Yeah, potentially. But because if I'm going Ponga, you don't own Ponga, but there's something there. I like the fact that the Roosters targeted the left side of the Titans and had success down there with Tupu scoring.
Yep.
So I just think maybe Newcastle replicate that game.
Yeah,
what's it
game
called?
plan.
A game plan, that's right. And Marju could, score 2-3 tries.
And like the obvious captain option is Teddy. Like
for me, it's not.
But Teddy plays the Raiders. He scored 151 against them last time, and his average against the Raiders is 75, which is like looking at his average against everyone else on 91 against.
It's probably a smart, safe enough play where even if he doesn't go massive, he goes good, and even if you don't think he could go massive, he probably still could.
Yeah.
And at least it's a bit boring. But this is where I think maybe where we're talking about the zigzag, where a lot might land on that. And if you're trying to shoot up the ranks, or maybe you kind of predict what first might do, or something like that. I don't even know if he's got Teddy. I know he's got Turbo. I'm assuming he's got Teddy and Turbo, right?
He wouldn't be first if he didn't have it.
Teddy and Turbo, yeah.
So I'm going to all coaches. I'm going to most popular captain. It is James Tedesco at 16.3%, 15.2% for Tommy, and 4% for Ponga. 2.8% on Hines. 2.6% on Edwards. I don't hate Edwards.
Yeah, I think
Apparently
Penrith's bounce back
Apparently
factor.
he's injured though.
Right. So Dane Laurie maybe back to fullback.
Maybe. He's on the extended as well.
I'm going to go Lomax vice captain against the Eels and captain Ponga or Teddy. It's really going to come down to Sunday feel, I think. see Ponga sort of run out in the field, how nice and crisp it looks up there. Maybe you might want to check the weather as well. Weather might be a factor.
Very good. All right, cool. I think that's it for the podcast. It really feels like this is the week where we're starting to, like, SuperCoach is over after this week, pretty much for a lot of people.
With head-to-head being done, and but you know what? Anytime you've got a player and they're getting points and you can open the phone and check out how many points you got, that's still SuperCoach.
Oh, that's good, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's a good feeling when your player goes over to score, or you're not at the game, you see on the app, your player has line break, try. There's no better feeling. But yeah, we'll be back next week, obviously, for next week's episode, and then we'll do the end of year awards the week after that, and then we're going to get into some roasting of how I see, or not roasting, but like season reviews. There's a bit of fantasy fatigue going around in the SuperCoach experience.
There's definitely, you get a burnout for, like, especially when I think just for anyone who's playing SuperCoach, it's a long season, and there's an emotional journey of, highs and lows, and and then it all sort of comes to the end, and you kind of finally find out where you're at. You know what I mean? So it is a bit, and then it sort of reshapes. Like for me, I'm starting to. For me personally, my confidence is just shot. In SuperCoach, and it's bleeding out into my life. You know what I mean? Like, just second guessing everything I say and do, and just sort of like, oh, sorry, don't know what I'm doing with SuperCoach at the moment. So it's really affecting.
That was me a couple of years ago, to be honest. Like, I ranked really bad for like the third year in a row, or maybe second year in a row, and I was thinking, like, I think the buys had changed, and the buys were a bit easier to navigate because. I think back in the day, it was 3 major buys, and it was just like, it was always carnage.
Yeah.
I think they changed it to make it a little bit easier.
Yeah.
I forget. They added more trades. They added more trades, and the buy period was. So I was struggling to adapt to that because I always ranked well because I emphasized on buys. And I realized, like, buys just weren't. Focusing on buys doesn't do it for you. And I think there's been a shift since the 6 again rule has come in, and even a little bit before that it's more focused on attacking footy. The SC Playbook are actually doing like team of the years every week, and they just did 2017, and I think that's the year where that was my best year, where I ranked 90th for the year.
What do you mean? What are they doing? Team of the year?
Team of the year, I think they started in like 2012, and it's the SuperCoach team of the year from that year.
Oh, each player in their position.
Yeah,
cool.
And they post it, and it was always Corey Parker, Paul Gallen, and a lot of forwards like Simon Mannering, Sean Fenton, who were the big averaging people. And now in 2017, which they're up to, you can see a shift where it's kind of even in the second row and the centre wings and fullbacks. Tom Trbojevic in 2017 was actually the highest averaging player, 76 points. Do you want me to get it out for you?
Wow.
I'll read it out because I'm sure the listeners, if they haven't seen it, it's actually very interesting. Shout out to SA Playbook. They're teaming up with Random Stats Guy, great footy player. So 2017, fullback, Tom Trbojevic, 76 points. In centre wing, it was Jordan Rapana, Angus Crichton. Jordan Rapana, 71 points. Angus Crichton, 69 points. Munster, 67, and Clint Gutherson, 67.
Was that when Jordan Rapana was playing with BJ Leilua and they had that little part? They were a little...
It was, but 2016 was the year they would absolutely kill it. I'll go back to 2016.
I think that's the first year I started. That's why I remembered it. Yeah, I started playing them.
Yeah, I remember you killed it with Val Holmes at the end of the year. Gareth Widdop and Sean Johnson were the halves with 73 and 72 average. The second rowers were Simon Mannering, Jason Taumalolo, and Jake Trbojevic, 74, 75, and 73 averages. So even in the second rows are still averaging higher than the centre wings, but the halves were averaging just as much in this period. Paul Gallen was the front row at 76, and Paul Vaughan was 68 average. Cameron Smith was a 75 average. He was a staple for most years. Let me go back to the 2016. Cam Smith was the highest averaging player for 78 points. Ryan James and Fafita were in the front row for 73 and 72. Paul Gallen, Sam Burgess, and Trent Merrin all averaged 75 that year. Bryce Cartwright was the 5'8", 74
It's funny how you just have little things that kind of stand out. Like for me, one of those names, it was Ryan James. I remember him just being a try-scoring beast out of nowhere sort of thing.
Yeah, and then Jonathan Thurston, 70 points. Joey Leilua, 72. Jared Croker, 72. Cameron Munster, 69. Tohu Harris, 67. And then James Tedesco was the fullback at 70. So it's been a really, like... I can't wait till they get to the more recent times, and you can see the kind of gradual shift in the backs were
could
more
be
priority.
a bit off topic, but just like talking about how the scoring's shifted and what point players are doing better as a result of what. I was just thinking on the weekend. I don't know, the try contribution. But maybe it needs a little bit more than 4. Some of them they don't. Some of them are just basically just with the guy that sort of. But there's some that I'm kind of like, when there's one bloke getting 17 for the when he's getting
20 points for a try assist and line break assist. Here's how I think it needs to be fixed.
So sometimes you can't differentiate which one of the two was really the guy that put the pizzazz on that.
I think the person who created the try should get the try assist, and the person who set up the try, which is usually most
last pass sort of thing.
Last pass gets the line break assist.
Yeah. And
then anyone else gets a try contribution. So if you did the try assist, you don't get a try contribution, you don't get a line break assist. Let's, for instance, the Tommy with Cooler on the weekend.
Yeah.
Because he was a sweeper, he created the try. But like he didn't.
I was watching that one. I didn't love that.
No,
I get that's how it goes.
I don't think he did, but they're just sticking to a formula, and I get why it's like that. And Teddy did something similar, and I still get why he did that.
I feel like Dylan Brown. I could be getting the player wrong, but I feel like Dylan Brown might have been involved in one or something.
Yeah,
and I was like, oh, geez, I feel like it was more him than
Gutho.
Yeah,
but Gutho was a sweeper.
Yeah,
so that's why the fullbacks are so heavily favoured in SuperCoach. I think a try contribution should go to someone like Dylan Brown. If Gutho is not the last pass, he should get a try assist, and then the last pass gets the line break assist.
So I reckon some of the contributions, you look at it.
So they both get 12 points. They get equal points because they get a line break assist and try contribution.
Yeah.
I think that's fair, but it also, that probably evens out the playing field a lot, to be honest.
Yeah. I don't know. It could really be a shit thing, but I just kind of feel like sometimes you feel like...
I think it'll take away from a lot of these high upside guys, which we don't want, because they're very good captain options.
I'm just saying give them a little bit more, not take anything away from that, but maybe give a bit more than 4 for a try contribution. When you do an effective offload, that's 4. Sometimes they only run an extra metre or 2, and...
What if it's 8 points for a last pass try contribution? So a try contribution where, Cody Walker digs deep into the line and does cut out ball to 3 people, and then the fullback Latrell passes to the centre and the centre passes to the wing. Cody Walker should get a try contribution. Latrell gets a try assist and line break assist, but the centre gets last pass try contribution, 8 points.
I didn't know the centre was involved. I was only picturing Cody Walker, Latrell on the winger there.
Fuck that up. All right, cheers for listening, guys. We'll see you next week, and thanks for sitting through the dribble if you're here this far.
Yeah.